Good afternoon. Welcome to another professional development webinar brought to you by the Kemnall Academy Trust. My name's Kat McKeever. I'm the Teaching and Learning Lead at Seymour Primary School, and I'm also a lead practitioner. Today I'm going to be going through what we've done to monitor home learning. If there are any questions that you've got during the webinar, then feel free to comment underneath and I'll try my best to answer them afterwards, or I can always give you an email if that's easier. As a school, this is just a bit of background. As a school, we decided that Google Classrooms was the best vehicle for us to be able to provide our students with what they needed for home learning. We also have a couple of backups. So we also have Marvellous Me, which is a reward and communication programme that some of you will be aware of, and also School Ping. So the children get work in 3 different ways, and we monitor each of those and who is accessing them. And I'll go through that as the presentation goes on. The School Ping, just to let you know, is an office-based communication system. So that's something that we give to the office, and they're really great. They do that for us. Here is just the steps that we've gone through. And as I go through the next lot of slides, these should, I've got some examples of what they look like. In the, just let you read through those. Pardon? So quite early on it feels like a very long time ago now, but only 3 months ago, in the early days, we relied quite heavily on emails as a way of communicating what the Google Classrooms needed to look like. As we all know, at that time, there were a huge amount of emails going around. So we decided that to streamline that, we would, every week, we would email out a work stream for our members of staff. On there, we have titles such as that they have to come to a Google Hangout, and we've got the expectations from Google Classroom, which you can see on this slide here. So what should be uploaded and when. There's also a bit about parental contact, about CPD and what planning needs to go in. This has really helped us streamline everything and ties together the Google Classroom. We were really, we knew that consistency was something that we really needed to ensure happened, especially for the children, but also for the parents and, let's face it, for the staff as well. We wanted to keep all of the expectations manageable, and by putting it on something like this, it just meant that everybody could access it as and when they wanted to. Teachers' feedback, just another bit of background, teachers' feedback through the Google Classrooms, but they also feedback through Marvellous Me. And this is something that we do monitor. A member of staff has the overall accountability for monitoring Marvellous Me and making sure that the children are getting feedback. It does work out really well, and the parents seem to really appreciate that they have that going on between the staff and the children. We have an expectation that year groups work together to create an overview of what is due to be uploaded, when and by who. These are put in a folder in a shared area so that the leadership team can have a look if need be. When I go through the rest of the monitoring, you'll see that there are times where we do have to go back and look at the coverage if anything flags up. It's also helped when it's come to planning what will happen when we come to the transition back into school in September. We can see what's been covered in each year group and what's been consolidated. So they do this during their PPA time. They have PPA on a Wednesday and they do it via a Hangout. It's really helped to clear lots of things up. This current sheet is something that I started, and I was doing it on my own for the first part, but very quickly realised that I needed a little bit of help. So the rest of the SMT group came on board with it. These are, on an upload day, we go into each year group. Each member of SMT is accountable for one subject. We look at what's being uploaded. We have an expectation that we would like to keep as close to our pedagogical model as possible. So we do expect there to be modelling, we do expect there to be differentiation, and also some scaffolding. We also RAG what's gone on so that we can start to see if there's a bit of a pattern. And also we can go back to see who's uploaded and when, just in case somebody needs a little bit of extra support. This also helps us to see if there's any gaps. I know that our Talk for Writing lead goes into she's done this writing bit, and she can see if the Talk for Writing booklets that we're using are being used properly. It's been a really great way of seeing on one sheet what's going on in each year group. There are a few bits that come from that monitoring sheet. So there are quite often, not as much as there used to be, but we do sometimes send out an umbrella email just saying, really focusing on what goes well, what's working really well, and also what we need more of, or if there's a general message that we need to give out. We don't send as many as we used to, but I think that's because everybody's a little bit more comfortable with what they're doing now. It's fair to say, like everybody else, that a bit of special praise when it's due is really nice. So if there is something in particular that's gone really well on the Google Classrooms, we will send out an email to that team of teachers, and we will put in the heads of school and executive head, just so that they are aware that we're really appreciative of what they're doing. And these 3 teachers didn't mind having their photos up. So they actually socially distanced whilst reading a book. That worked really well. The children's comments were really lovely on Google Classroom, and we just wanted to let them know that we did appreciate everything that they'd done. On the flip side of that, there are times where we do need to be a little bit more direct, maybe with a team, maybe with a member of staff, and it is in a supportive way. So we might just say, could you just have a look back, like, thanks for uploading, but could you go back and could you just spend some time thinking about modelling, thinking about the scaffolding? These, again, are not meant in a negative way. They're really positive, and staff are fine with that. We get replies saying, oh, I hadn't thought of that. Thanks for flagging that one up. So that goes up as well. It became quite clear that the tracking document was fine. We were tracking what was going on Google Classrooms, but it was really important that we understood which children were accessing what platform, so that we could really tailor what our children needed. So this form, there's one for each year group. TTRS is the Times Table Rockstar, and you've got Marvellous Me, Accelerated Reader in the Google Classroom. There is also a column for children who are not engaging. So this is something that teachers do as part of their working from home. So if they're in charge of uploading that week, it doesn't take much time. And then the percentages go up into the top. Again, if you want a copy of this, please get in touch and we can pass it on to you. This works out really well. Teachers, we do require teachers to phone home every 2 weeks to check on children. This is a really good starting point for lots of those conversations, because we can say, we know that you're accessing it through Marvellous Me. Are you okay with Google Hangouts? If they need some help, then we can offer that. So it just opens up those conversations. In the same hand, we do go through these. Any children who are not engaging are highlighted, and they will receive a supportive phone call from a member of the leadership team, just to check in, just to see how things are and if there's anything we can do to help. If there's any concern, then obviously we do put things on, we do put comments on CPOMS, which is our safeguarding application. And it might mean that through monitoring this, we do have to get other people involved, the EWA, for example. And then we do a little bit more data crunching, and we have one member of staff who is in charge of doing this. So she pulls off all of those percentages, and we look at who is accessing as a whole school. It's really a great way of seeing where the gaps are, and then we can question why a certain year group might not be accessing. So, for example, if they're younger, it might just be that it's their parent, that they need a little bit of extra help, or they are watching the videos that we download, but they're not clicking handed in so that their percentage doesn't go up. It also helps us. We, for example, noticed that there was a bit of a dip with children accessing Times Table Rockstar. Because of that, the Times Table Rockstar lead started a competition between the children, and we noticed a massive increase of the children accessing it. So that was a really great win, and it's just another way of tracking what we're doing. The member of staff then makes some notes, just bits that we need to look into. And then there's a weekly meeting with the heads of school, and we then put together the action. So what is it that we're going to do? And that was the example of the Times Table Rockstar. It meant that we implemented this competition, and then the percentages increased. So that was a positive. Everyone was pretty happy with that one. This is just to give you an idea of what we do expect for the parental and child contact. So staff phone home, and we do use the CPOMs. If they haven't been accessing online, I'm sure the same as everybody, if we do have the tech spare, then we will give it to them, but they might just need a bit of support. And the Marvellous Me's worked really well. And like I said, that's monitored by a member of staff. There is a little bit of competition going on between the staff to see who can make the most marvellous, who can send out the most Marvellous Me badges. And I have heard that there's a prize in there somewhere. As well as monitoring what the children are doing online, we also offer our weekly CPD through a Teaching and Toast online classroom. These are normally run on when things are normal in school, but this is quite often the focus for our weekly Teaching and Toast will come from the monitoring that's taken place on the classroom. So, for example, if teachers were struggling to scaffold, or they didn't quite know where to get the models from, that's something that we would cover during the CPD. This week we've done Myon, which is another online platform that the children will get to use for reading. The slides are on there. There were some actions that the staff had to take, and then this evening we've got a staff meeting just to bring all of that back together. But it's a really quick way of just getting a whole message out there, and it's worked quite well. It's nice to see the staff interacting with it. And last but not least, we know how important it is to give staff the chance to have their say. So Google have this amazing thing called a Jamboard, which is anonymous post-it notes that you can put up. You can send out a Jamboard. We quite often send them out with a piece of CPD that they have to do. This was about Cuisenaire, I think. It was amazing. And it's just a really quick way of staff having their say, being able to tell us how they're feeling, or if there's something that could work even better. And yeah, it works really well. So if you are looking for something for staff to give feedback on, Jamboard works really well, but it is anonymous, just to give you the heads up. I am confident that the monitoring that we go through has meant that the diet that our children get at Seymour is great, and we know what's going on. And I think the staff also appreciate that we've got their back. So we know when maybe somebody is finding something a bit tricky, or if there's a bit of a work-life balance issue going on, or if they just need some advice about something. But the monitoring has really helped, I would say, and it's made us much more confident as a leadership team. That is the end of my slides. Thanks for watching. And I am reading this bit off of a script, but I will say it. Don't forget to like this video if it's been useful. And it is important, if you subscribe to TCAP Professional Development YouTube channel, you'll get updates in the future. But yeah, I think that's everything. Thanks ever so much. Bye.